right, good afternoon. Welcome everyone, and thanks for coming out for this brief time to meet the candidates. We'll be gathered this afternoon, we'll gather again tomorrow afternoon and Thursday as we have a candidate each day come and share in that time. In case we haven't had an opportunity to meet, my name is Aaron Bowens, and I have the privilege of serving as the board president of the Board of Education and journeying through this time in this space with the board. The board members that have been able to be here, if you could just raise your hand so folks could see who the folks are. It's going to be important that we remember who those folks are. There's been some question about how do we receive feedback as a board from this time. And one of the way we're going to do that is we're going to ask you to give your feedback directly to a board member. There was conversations about data collecting and all these kinds of things, which may have worked, but then we have to do something with all that data before we actually engage it, and our timeline doesn't necessarily afford us to do that. So we're going to invite you to give direct feedback to our board members, who will be able to carry that to the rest of the board so that your feedback is able to be heard and be a part of our conversation. So we'll invite you to do that as we disperse out today. Again, our format, as I have two questions that the board has settled on that we're going to ask every candidate to respond to, and want to just give us a heads up. It feels so natural after that to say, does anybody have questions? We're not going to do that. And I just want to be transparent as to why we're not going to do that. Not because we don't want to hear from folks, but we also recognize that this is a human resources process. And that means that you might have a well-meaning question that you don't realize is an out-of-bounds question from an HR standpoint. And so rather than not have to navigate that water or put ourselves at risk of managing an HR process, we're going to just not have the question time. I know that might be disappointing to some, but I just wanted to be clear as to what was driving that decision. Not that we don't want to hear from folks, because we want you to talk to our board members, but we don't want to get into a spot where we're asking inappropriate questions well-meaningly, in a well-meaning way in that. So with that, I'm going to get us started here and ask our first question, and then turn it over. Our first candidate today is Mr. Jeffrey Evner, who is currently serving on the administration in the life of the school, looking around, seeing many faculty and staff. You know Jeff, but introducing him to the community. He's been with us as the assistant superintendent and the director of curriculum, as I believe the pieces. So I should know that, but my mind's not working right now on that. So I'm going to ask the first question and then give him an opportunity to respond. So our first question is a real complicated one. Why are you seeking to become the next superintendent at Homer?
Thank you, Dr. Bounds. I appreciate the question. Thank you, everyone, for coming out this evening. I certainly appreciate you giving up your valuable time from your home to come and be invested in this process. So thank you for the opportunity. Why do I want to be the next superintendent of schools for the Homer Central School District? I've been asked that question exactly 5 times today, starting at 9 o'clock this morning. So I'll give it a whirl. Number one, I want you to know that I have a passion for leadership. It is something that I chose to pursue as a career 18 years ago when I decided to leave the teaching profession and join the ranks of educational administration. So I read about leadership only. I watch videos on leadership. My goal is to read 10 to 15 leadership-oriented books every year because this is my career. This is what I chose to do. And leading people and organizations excites me. The people I get to lead every day inspire me. So with that being said, I don't think you're going to find someone who reads more about leadership. For some reason, last night I couldn't sleep. I don't know why. I was watching a John Maxwell video at 1:30 in the morning on servant leadership because I couldn't sleep. So I said, you know what, if I can't sleep, I'm going to learn something today. Secondly, I have a passion for working with staff, with a community to build programs that support the physical growth of children, the emotional growth of children, the academic growth of children, the social growth of children, and the leadership growth of children. This is something I've been doing since I entered the teaching profession 23 years ago. Building programs around and for children is something that gets me excited. It gets me out of bed every day. What can we do better for kids today than we did yesterday? So that's the kind of the two reasons. Second reason, believe it or not, since 2002, when I was hired for my first teaching position, teaching 7th grade U.S. history, I was very inspired by my then superintendent in the Auburn City School District. He was a class act, he was a gentleman, he looked the part, he talked the part, and at that point, I wanted to be a school superintendent. The inspiration this man gave me was immeasurable. So everything I've done in my career leading to this point, all the positions, director of curriculum, middle school principal, high school principal, director of athletics, assistant superintendent for personnel and operations in my previous district in Auburn, the last 3.5 years here in Homer as the assistant superintendent for curriculum instruction, have all been on purpose, running for mayor of my hometown, on purpose to gain the skills to become a successful superintendent someday. But I don't want to be a superintendent just anywhere. I've had the awesome opportunity to work in 4 different districts, and no better district than the Homer Central School District. I wanted to work in a district. I could have stayed in my previous district, probably been the superintendent there as the chain of progression goes there, but there was no way I was moving my family out of this area. My support network is here. Family is very important to me. So I wanted to find a district that was close to my home, that was right size. The beauty of Homer is we're big enough that we can program for every single student that walks through our doors, but we're small enough that we know what makes every student that walks through our doors tick, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. So we are a right-sized district. And lastly, I wanted to find a district that my family could be part of. Now, I served in my role for a year, 2001 to 2022. Very quickly in that year, I realized my kids have to be part of this. So my wife and I made a decision to quickly transfer our students from Groton to Homer, not because we dislike Groton, but because of the opportunities and because of the individuals that we entrust every day to teach our children and be around our children. Homer is chock full of, some of the best human beings I've ever had a chance to work with. And now my kids, 3 years later, have benefited from that. So thank you to that. So long story short, now my wife works here. She's a counselor here at the high school. So far and away, the Eveners are all in on Homer. So wanting to be a superintendent, but being a superintendent in the right district where my family can not only survive, but thrive. And that's what the Eveners are doing here, is we're thriving in Homer. And it's not lost on us why. It's not the beautiful auditorium. It's not our buses. It's not our buildings. It's not the Butts Field. It's because the people that make up our district, our students, our staff, our parents, and the community at large.
Thank you. Second question is connected with you. You talked about leadership and being a student of leadership, and so it fits right in to say, how would your leadership impact the school and the greater community?
Thank you for that. One of the things I would say is effective leaders are great at building relationships. One of the things I say all the time is in real estate, it's about location, location, location. In leadership and in education specifically, it's relationships, relationships, relationships. And every exceptional superintendent that I've worked for ran a master class in building relationships with every constituent group that they interacted with. And don't think I wasn't taking notes, because I certainly was. All great relationships, like a marriage, it's made up of a few things. They're hard things though, right? Open communication, a commitment to collaboration, transparency in communication, and building that trust. Without those foundations, you don't have relationships. You have a place where people come to work and don't trust each other. And I don't want to work in a place like that. So I'm going to separate this question out. How will the school be impacted by my leadership? I'm going to be fully transparent with everything that we do from the district perspective. Any operational function, any operational decision, people are going to know the why, the what, and the how. But I'm not going to arrive at those decisions in a vacuum. We have a lot of smart, intelligent people that make up the Homer community, including our students, our staff, our parents, and the business owners. going to them to help solve our most vexing problems. What you're going to get from me is you're going to get someone who goes beyond just simply engagement. Personally, I think there's a little arrogance that goes into that term, engagement. It's well-meaning, but with engagement, what that simply says is, I know better, here's the answer, please come talk to me about the answers I've already provided. What I'm seeking is ownership. I want people to feel like they co-own the Homer Central School District. And how do you get to ownership? You invite those people in, you have conversations with the people directly affected by the decisions. And that's what leaders do, we make decisions. And one thing you have to consider is who's going to be affected and how much are they going to be impacted. And then go talk to those people, right? Some decisions have been made in a vacuum in this district and in any district. And from my 23 years experience working in public schools, those decisions hardly end well. It's getting people engaged in the solution, bringing an answer, bringing a question to our constituent groups to help solve versus bringing a preset answer that's already been developed, and I'm just looking to get engagement with that, right? People are less likely to burn down things that they've built. So hopefully as your next superintendent, the impact of my leadership will be not only seen in the district, but it'll be seen also in the community at large. Going out to our municipalities, the municipalities that make up our incredible school district, the towns, the villages, the county, reintroducing the district to some of those municipal leaders, doing budget presentations at the village board meetings, at the county meetings. Those things are important. Those things are vital to help gain support and advocacy for what we're doing. People are more likely to support if they know what's going on and if they're part of the solution. They're part of helping answer the question. So at the end of the day, I have nothing to hide. I have no agenda. Decisions will not be made in a vacuum. The impact will be that the Homer Central School District is by far the most transparent district I've ever experienced, and it's because of the leadership team, the teachers that work there, the kids that go there, and the community that makes up the Homer Central School District.
Thank you. So the last piece that we're going to do is not directly a question. It's more just an opportunity for you to share with the folks here who I'm sure are brooding with all kinds of questions, and this is a space to start to introduce yourself more deeply to the life of this district. So just kind of an open piece to say, what do you think folks need to know about you and your journey that we haven't shared already?
I am the quintessential imperfect leader. I will not call every ball and strike correctly. I think that's virtually impossible. I was an imperfect student. I wasn't, I think the technical term is knucklehead. I went to summer school in this building because I failed the Earth Science Regents. Went to summer school here, failed the Earth Science Regents again. But my wife, being a school counselor, has used me as an example time and time again that just because we make mistakes in high school doesn't mean it's the end of the world. And we have to help kids understand that. One of the things that I lose sleep over, and when I was a principal, I lost sleep over the prom night and graduation night, and any dance we were having and kids being out really late. You lose sleep over those things as a principal. As an assistant superintendent, hopefully your next superintendent, what I lose sleep for is the Monday after graduation. Graduation is great. It's a culmination of hard work, support from parents, the miles that parents put on to support their children, the time, the energy, attention, and care the adults give children. It is a culmination of a beautiful thing, but I'm worried about the Monday after. What are our kids going to do? What are they equipped to do? And it's something I think about often. I want to make sure that we continue to provide an education where kids have the knowledge and skills to either be employed, enlist in the military, or enroll in a 2 or 4 year university, and simultaneously have a little bit of economic independence from their parents and understanding how to manage their finances by the time they leave us. We can do that. We have students already doing that, right? But making it system-wide. So as Jeff Everner goes, I do lose sleep over the Monday after graduation. I also lose sleep when my kids wake me up all night long because they have to go pee. It's crazy to me. But I've come to love Homer. I think I'll never be from Homer, but my goal by the time I retire is to be of Homer. That's my goal. I don't want to work anywhere else. I don't envision Jeff Evner being anywhere else. This is a great place, and I'm so thankful for everyone who showed up here tonight. I'm thankful for the people that show up to work every day. I'm thankful for the parents who send their kids to school every day, because if you don't send your kids, I don't have a job, and I am not good at anything else. So with that, I want to say thank you. I wish the board the best in this process. Thank you to the board for making me one of the finalists. Thank you for giving up dinner time and time with your family to be here this evening. I know it's important to you all, and I know the board will make the right decision. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Can we show our appreciation? Kind of off the hook for now. You can have a seat if you like, or stand there and feel awkward and all that fun stuff. I just wanted to take a few moments before I release us to whatever is next, just to make sure that you all are aware of the process that we've been through and will continue through in this journey of identifying the next superintendent. So this began last year, as soon as Superintendent Turk informed us of his intentions to retire, and we began to talk as a board about what's that mean and what do we do with that, and then we began to explore search consultants, or whether we wanted to use a search consultant or try to do this on our own, and we said, oh goodness no, let's get a search consultant. And we tapped into our resources at OCM BOCES rather than invest the district's money in hiring an outside consultant to come in and do that work. As we got started, we put together the pieces to advertise the district and then to put out a call for applications. We received those applications and did some read-throughs and reviews, and out of that pool of applicants, we invited a crew for first interviews with the board, where we had them come, and we, over the course of, I think it was 2 very long nights, I was remote in that conversation, but 2 long nights, interviewed each person, asked the questions, unpacked that, and then out of that discerned who do we want to have come back for a second interview. Again, 2 long evenings of the board sitting together and interviewing that round of folks. After those interviews, boiled it down to say who are the finalists that we want to have come and spend another day with the district, more interviews, and that journey. Part of that spot there was some survey work that was done both through the Teachers Association, but also through the district and OCM BOCES, wanting to hear input from folks so that we have an idea of what our community is looking for as we get ready to do this work. And then we also had some focus groups that met that included faculty and staff and students and community members to, again, to continue to give us input about what it is that we're hoping for in the next superintendent. And then again, the process today, tomorrow, and Thursday are a series of interviews, 5 of them, with different stakeholder groups. And it's not us asking as many questions as it is asking questions of the candidates to get that input. That information is gathered and some rankings are taken. And shortly here, after we wrap up, the board will be gathering with the candidate for dinner at a location that I won't share in case you want to try to get in on. We'll go a little conclave effect here, and no, we won't go quite that far. But we will gather and have some more conversation with the candidate, and then once they move on to the next thing, the board will kind of unpack the day, hear from Dr. Cook, what his gathering and reflections from the day were, what kind of information that we need to know, and then we'll put a pin on that, and we'll do the same thing tomorrow. We'll do that Thursday. And then shortly after our work on Thursday, we're going to be working to discern who it is that we want to enter into negotiations with to become the next superintendent of schools. And I do mean to say it's a negotiation at that point. It's not like we just raw offer it. There's a conversation that happens. We're hoping to here in the month of April be able to share with the community who that person is once the negotiations have been finalized. Everything in me wants to give you a date. I'm not foolish enough to do that. But we're hoping to work through this with some pace, because we have some pieces that are connected with it, but we don't want to move so fast that we don't do our absolute best work. So we're just balancing that as a board moving forward. Just wanted you to know what the process has been and what that looks like going forward. Again, thank you so much for coming out tonight and taking advantage of this. Hoping to see many of you again tomorrow evening and Thursday evening. But again, if you have some direct feedback that you would like to make sure gets heard, make sure to see one of the board members before you leave this space tonight so they can carry that back to all of us. So thanks for coming out tonight. Have a great night.